The question on everybody's mind is, what is Trump's potential path to the White House as of now? A lot has happened in the past 3 days, with potential mass voter fraud being the biggest possible scenario. And we need to examine what is Trump's best shot at winning this election. Now, this map here is the states we know for a fact are going to go to each candidate, alright? The reason I have Wisconsin, Michigan as toss-ups is they're going to recounts. And I'm going to explain what's going on in Michigan and Wisconsin, because something's happening in those two states. In lesser extent, Minnesota, but that's a separate topic. Alright? And yes, the rest of these states, we know for a fact are going. North Carolina, for example, mathematically speaking, I just highly doubt that there's enough votes for Biden to overcome this. Even most people are saying that Trump's going to win North Carolina. So, as of now, this is truly the real competitive remaining races. Right? Because a lot of these states are going to go into recount territory. So, what is Trump's potential path to securing a legitimate chance of winning? Well, it's simple. With Georgia going to the recount territory and with a lot of the mail-in votes being military ballots left, I do think at the end of the day, Trump will win Georgia after a recount, because you look at what happened in Georgia. And these are ridiculous swings towards Biden in this part of the state. Like, what are these swings? It makes no sense that counties that should be more favorable to Trump magically swung heavily for Biden. It makes no sense. Alright? We're going to recount, and there's probably a couple thousand votes in this area being thrown out. Alright? So let's just say, for argument's sake, Trump wins Georgia. Then we go over to Arizona. Alright? We still got a little bit of a left in Maricopa, Yuma, Lopez, Mojave, etc. And looking at it, I do truly think, end of the day, Trump will barely win Arizona. This is just a potential path. He needs Arizona and Georgia right now to have a chance. I do think, end of the day, Trump will win Arizona. You look at the remaining votes, and sketchy stuff happened, and really, I do think that they're going to sort out the whole Sharpie crap. You could say, oh, that was fake. Listen, the Sharpie stuff that happened in Arizona, here's what's going to happen. They probably didn't count the ballots, but they're counted by hand, if that actually did happen. So really, I do think Trump at the end of the day will win Arizona. So now, what is Trump's path after this? Alright, let's just say Biden holds on to Michigan, because it is too big of a lead, I do think, for Trump, unless you see mass fraud. Because you look at the swing map, and this map makes no sense. Red Eagle touched upon this. How did Muskegon County trend Republican, but Kent and Ottawa County swing heavily left? Same thing with Bay and Midland County. These two counties virtually the same, but one swung differently? Something does not add up, alright? And you look at this part of the state, it just does not make any sense. And you could say Orange Man bad crowd. It does not reflect this, though. If there's an Orange Man bad crowd, the central part of the state would have swung more heavily left, but it didn't. It was more of the Trump favorable areas. It makes no sense. We're going to recount, but as of now, I do think Trump will lose Michigan, barring some mass voter fraud uncovered. So now, what is left? Well, Trump basically has to win Wisconsin at this point. This is his best chance. Alright? And you look at Wisconsin, he's only down 20,000 votes. And they may say, oh, that's too much for Trump. But really, this map, again, makes no sense. You just throw out a couple thousand votes in this part of the state, which will most likely happen, because it makes no sense how Waukesha swings heavily Democrat, but just the Driftless area swings heavily Republican. That just does not add up. This is the part of the state where Trump, in the primaries, and even the primaries earlier this year with the Supreme Court race, showed these counties swung heavily Republican. It makes no sense, alright? And the Fox Valley magically swung all left, but Kewaunee County and Manitowoc swung Republican. It makes no sense. So let's just say, for argument's sake, a couple thousand Milwaukee gets thrown out, a couple thousand Waukesha, Ozaki, etc. These results make no sense. I do think that if everything goes according to plan, Trump could win Wisconsin, right? So now we got Trump at 269. What can Trump do to win the election after this. Because, quite frankly, yes, it's 269 that pretty much gives him a victory, but what gives him a for sure victory? He needs either Nevada or Pennsylvania. And you look at what's happening in Nevada, and yes, Trump's down 21,000, but you're hearing reports of a lot of dead people voting. Alright? You're hearing like 10,000 people that haven't lived in Nevada for years voted. Right? That sort of stuff. I do think that Biden will win Nevada as of now. Alright? I just think there's too much to overcome in Nevada. So now, all we got left is Pennsylvania. This is going to be interesting. The voter fraud that we are seeing straight from videos in Philly itself is laughable. How pathetic it is. Because, yes, it may have swung Republican, right? But that doesn't really matter when there's an extra couple 100,000 votes being casted. And then somehow Philly goes more Republican, but this part of the state goes more Democrat. How does that add up? Lots of these counties are Trump-heavy counties. They magically swung Democrat? Something's not adding up in Pennsylvania either. Alright? And again, we do have around 40,000 votes left in Pennsylvania. And I'm hearing that a good chunk of that is overseas ballots. So it's going to get tight. That's all I'm going to say. But let us just say for now, Biden wins Pennsylvania. This is the current map if everything goes to plan. Because I do think Trump at the end of the day will win Georgia after a recount. And Arizona after they fix the Sharpie crap. Because people are saying, oh, that's fake. They count the ballots. But it's like, well, if they just miss a couple thousand ballots, that could cost a race. So I'm just going to say, for argument's sake, Trump wins Arizona also. And he wins Wisconsin because you look at it and the counties just make no sense. So now you're at a 269-269 tie. At this point, it would go to the House, and each state would get one vote, and Trump would win the election. So, this is irony. But Trump at this point, I think he needs a tie to win this election. So, it's going to get interesting. That's all I'm going to say. And again, you could say, oh, well, Arizona will go to Biden. I highly doubt that because, again, you had the latest drops of votes, dumps of votes in Arizona, weren't favorable to Trump the most, but again, you look at where they're coming from, it's the rest of the votes are coming from the Trump-heavy parts of the state. So we will see what happens, but as of now, let's just say Trump wins Arizona, he wins Georgia, right? And he wins Wisconsin. I do firmly believe he will win Wisconsin after a recount and audit of the ballots, because just this map makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So yes, in a nutshell, we may very well be heading for a 269-269 tie. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to have another video discussing more potential fraud, because I looked more in a couple of these states, and Nebraska just makes no sense. Like, what is this? What is this? I know it's Omaha, but still. So yes, we're going to do a deep dive video. I did kind of a quick video on why there's voter fraud happening. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.